Hello everyone, welcome for the astrology capsules of September 2017. I had a request from a good friend of mine to do it in English, so there we go. We'll have it both in French and English starting this month. So let's do a quick recap for the month of August first. So let's remember we had this square, Jupiter and Pluto square, that was ending. It's a square that did last for about 9 months, so it was a very big aspect, pretty much the main aspect for 2017. So this crucial aspect just ended last month in August. So when we think about Jupiter and Pluto, we see right away the idea of power, of all the conflicts arising from power issues, and this is very, very big. It's also about our own way of dealing with our own empowerment. We're dealing also with our own way of managing our personal energies, how we use our personal energies, how we use our Mars energy, so our will, how do we use our Venus, Mercury, Sun, Moon energies, all those 5 personal planets, how we use them. Jupiter is the planet that helps us to use them like a good king that is very generous, doing good things for his people, for his kingdom. So that's a really nice planet, very beautiful. But this time the test of 2017 was to allow Jupiter to go a bit deeper within and really see what's the interest, because Jupiter does look good, does look generous. Everybody loves Jupiter, but the idea here was to check what's the hidden interest behind our way of managing our energies. What's the hidden interest within ourselves that makes us use our energies in certain ways? Where do we invest our energies? What's the hidden interest behind all that? So that's very key. It's a very important year, 2017. And it ended in August with the total solar eclipse. And this is extremely interesting because it all started in November 2016, and that's also when the new president of the United States have been elected. And this total solar eclipse have been visible through all of the United States, from the east to the west, all the way. It's been visible throughout the United States. So that's quite special that this aspect that brought the election of the new president finishes with a total solar eclipse that is actually touching all of the United States. So there's something very deep there for the USA, which is our neighbor country here in Canada. And what could we say about the total solar eclipse? It was very special. It's a time, the sun represents our consciousness. So when the sun gets hidden by the moon and it's totally hidden like that, and we can actually see it, it means that, everything that has been visible, everything that has been shown to us in the last 9 months with this Jupiter and Pluto square, we saw a lot of things. All the power issues that were arising, actually the election of the president in the United States, but also in France. They had also a new one there, and that's also very important for them. And the power issues that arose there were very obvious. The people could see what was happening. It was big, and people got aware, the public got aware of how is that working? How is the power managed nowadays? How does that work? How obvious it was that there was some manipulation happening, that there's some interests that are hidden. And are those people, is the king still having that much power or not also? And there was 2 things. One of them was how the king, let's say, is able to manipulate the situation, and also does the king still has the same power than we think it has? And that's extremely interesting, and we had that really visible and like palpable, like we could feel it. We could see this just throughout the elections and what happened right after that and so on. We could see that very easily. Now with the total solar eclipse, this vision, this perspective on power now is totally hidden. It's back in the caves. It's back into a place where we don't really notice it, where the public won't be that much aware of the power issues anymore, because there are different things to deal with. There's a different dynamic that is happening now. So the total solar eclipse ended this Jupiter square Pluto that made it obvious for everyone to be conscious of those power issues, and it just brought it back into a hidden place. And instead, it allowed us to connect with a very deep energy within ourselves, which is this this connection with something that never forget about the divine laws, I call them, about the laws that are ruling everything that is invisible. And the most easy to rely about what I'm saying right now is when we think about our own feelings. When we think about feelings, we know feelings are not visible, but they're extremely powerful, and they do have a huge influence on what will be happening, on, you know, how things will resolve and what type of decision we will take, and also what we feel, how happy we are, how we experiment all that. The feelings have a huge place there, and the feelings is kind of the door for the invisible world, because there's even more than feelings over there. But it all starts with the feeling, and this is easy to perceive by everyone. So feelings are really a good door to feel the invisible world, I would say. And so this total solar eclipse was a great chance to connect with an energy that is never forgetting the laws that rule this invisible world. And maybe a way to see that, or to think it in a very, with something known, would be to think about, for example, our guardian angel. We are living here on the planet Earth, and we are having our incarnation, and everything goes well, or not, but sometimes we tend to forget some ethical things. We tend to forget some really important things maybe we just were not aware of. We didn't learn them yet, and we do some choices, some decisions that sometimes are not the best, but our guardian angel is always there behind the scenes, always overlooking at us and trying to help us, trying to suggest the right thing, because he is always aware of those laws that we tend to forget, or just we're not aware yet of them, we didn't learn them yet. So this total solar eclipse was a chance to connect with this type of energy and try to anchor that within, and actually anchor that into the consciousness of our own Jupiter, which is our way of managing our personal energy in a good way, in a very generous way. So that was extremely interesting. August was wonderful. So now let's have a look at September, because that's the topic of the day. So September is quite special because we have the opposition between Jupiter and Uranus that is showing again. We had the same happening at the very beginning of the Jupiter square Pluto, and it was there in January, at the very beginning of that aspect that did last for about 9 months. And now it's coming again, so it's kind of wrapping this up. It was here at the beginning, and now it comes again. So it's a little bit like Uranus was overlooking this whole work that happened with our Pluto. And Uranus is extremely key as a planet, especially right now, because when we try to change some things within ourselves or in a society, we have to do a special work, because when we want to change something, a habit we have, you know, we can be very conscious about it, but we're conscious about it in certain conditions. And then all of a sudden, you change the conditions, you change the environment, and we tend to forget about it again. And now we have to learn it all over again. But Uranus is the special planet that allows a collective change. A change for all our cells, if we're talking about one person, but if we talk about society, a change for everybody. It brings a change that is strong enough, that is big enough, that it will change, it will touch the consciousness of everyone. So it will also touch the consciousness of all our cells, the cells of our liver, the cells of our eyes, cells of our skin, cells of our arms, cells of our stomach, cells of our heart, cells of our brain, etc. So you have an idea of how Uranus works. It touches all of ourselves. So to really anchor a real change within ourselves, Uranus is key. So now in September, it is the time where, okay, we went through this 9 months of Pluto square Jupiter, where we worked a lot on all the dynamics of power, all the conflicts of power, all our own consciousness of how does power work. Is power really powerful as we think it is? Is it important? Should we just let it go, leave it away because we're afraid of power? You know, it was a time to really deepen our understanding of it, accept it in our own management point of view of our own energies, but then also it reflected also on society and the politics and so on, of course, because it's energies for all the planet. So it was a good time for that. But now is time to really draw conclusions out of this experience. And it's Uranus that is asking that. Asking that not only so that we can understand it intellectually, but it's asking that so that all the different parts of ourselves, the different cells of our body, those different personal inner spaces are actually incorporating, assimilating those conclusions that we have to draw now, so that it really touches our entire self. And this is September, so there might be some little exams to allow us to deepen this understanding and to realize, oh yeah, it's also touching this sphere of my life. So the change, this new consciousness that we worked on for 9 months now will be more absorbed throughout our whole being. And in society, it will be the same. There will be events that will allow us to place things a bit better. Okay, we worked on something, we understood how power works, how, you know, the presidents and so on, how they work, how is this thing happening. And now, okay, we accept that more, but now it will be events that will allow us to see that this exact way of thinking and of seeing things is actually affecting all different spheres of our life, all different organizations, everything. So it's a really intense moment to work on our Jupiter. This is, you know, 2017 is unique in terms of preparing Jupiter to enter the sign of Scorpio, because yes, it's also September, the end of about a year that Jupiter spent in Libra, and it's going to enter Scorpio right away. It's going to be more active in October. So for about a year, it was Pluto and Uranus working on our Jupiter. So making it way deeper. These are two collective planets, Pluto and Uranus. They're very strong, very powerful. They brought a lot of deepness into this Jupiter, into our own way of understanding, our way of ruling things, our way of managing things. And both of them have a very key position in Scorpio. Yeah, Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, and Uranus is exalted in Scorpio. So those two have a very strong position, and they've been preparing Jupiter in Libra so that when it's gonna enter Scorpio, it's gonna be strong, it's gonna be prepared. Because probably that this time in 2018, it will be very key to have Jupiter in Scorpio. Now when it's gonna enter in Scorpio, what will happen is quite special, because Scorpio is the world of the invisible. We just mentioned it. You know how the feelings are the door to the invisible world. Now with Jupiter in Scorpio, it will be about how we can manage this invisible world. What can we do with it? We'll have to make some choices. We'll have to do some choices that takes into account the invisible world. And the invisible world is very vast. There are many, many things we don't see, but we'll have to put it into the calculation that helps us to make our decisions. So this is very important. The preparation, the intense preparation we are having right now in 2017 is key for that work of Jupiter entering Scorpio. So that's a very important one, September, because we're drawing all the conclusions of the last 9 months. And there were a lot of things that happened. So lots of conclusions to draw. and we have to bring this consciousness, those conclusions, within all the different inner spaces, the different parts of ourselves, so we can move ahead. Again, we do astrology for this self-development idea, right? We're not trying to predict, we're not trying to think what will happen for everyone. No, it's not the idea at all. If we want to do that, we need much more time with one person. We don't want to go with some such general ideas. What we are looking at right now is really to understand on a planetary level what we are working on. What is humanity doing right now? What's the work we're doing during this particular month? So that's the idea of this little astrology capsules. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, of course, we'll see each other in for October 2017. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for watching. Of course, you can subscribe to our channel, but there will be way more videos there. There's some on apitherapy, some on astrology, and there will be also other topics coming soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.